about white hats, he spoke about black hats, but he said nothing about beige hats. So I'm not sure where I stand in this industry, but that is cool. It sounds like if you're a dev in Web3, you can make quite a lot of money protecting assets. Now, on the developer topic, our next speaker, Santiago Zuluaga from ChainSafe, is going to talk to us about increasing dev adoption in Web3 through plugins. Santiago, the stage is yours.
Perfect. So, yeah, hi everyone. Nice to meet you. I'm Santiago from ChainSafe, and I'm the developer relations for Web3.js. Today's talk is about how we can increase the developer adoption using Web3 plugins, a new product that we have for Web3.js. Perfect. This is what I'm going to cover today. First, I'm going to give you a short introduction to Web3.js in case that you have never heard about that before. After that, I'm going to cover the main topic of the day, which are Web3 plugins. You are going to understand what is a Web3 plugin, what are the advantages of the plugins, and how you can use it, and how you can create one as well. And at the end, I'm going to give you some next steps in case that you are a project or a developer and you want to know more about the plugins and the current bounties that we have as well. Okay, so let's start with the first one. So Web3.js is a JavaScript library that allows you to interact with any EVM blockchain. Normally, when you want to talk to a blockchain, you need to send this complicated code that you see here. That's called JSON RPC calls. But then for Web3.js, what we are doing is that we abstract these JSON RPC calls into this JavaScript code that you see. So in that way, it's way easier to interact for developers. What you need to do is just to import the Web3 library. After that, you need to initialize a provider. Here, the provider is just like a link to a node. And then when you have this link to the node, you will be able to talk to that blockchain. So if you put, for example, a Polygon link here, then you will be able to interact with Polygon. Or Ethereum mainnet, then you will be able to interact with Ethereum mainnet. And then after that, you are ready to go and use Web3.js. In this case, web3.eth.get block number, and you will get the latest block number of the blockchain. This is a basic dApp communication flow, and that's how everything works from the big picture. First, you have the dApp, let's say Uniswap, and then Uniswap is using Web3.js. And then Web3.js will connect to the endpoint that I just showed you, that is the provider. And then the provider will talk to the blockchain node, which is any EVM network. And then this will kind of retrieve all the information all the way back if you are executing a transaction or making a call. This is a basic timeline that we have for Web3.js. So Web3.js was created in 2014 by Jeffrey Wolke, one of the Ethereum co-founders. After that, Merek from Parity Tech joined him as a lead maintainer. Then in 2015, Fabian Bogel-Steller, the ERC20 standard token creator, took over as a lead maintainer of the library. Then in 2020, ChainSafe came as a lead maintainer thanks to the Ethereum Foundation and Nomic Foundation. And since then, we have 1,000 pull requests from external contributors, and then we have 18,000 stars on GitHub, and we just released the version 4.7 last week, so it's like a pretty popular library in the ecosystem. Some of the milestones that we have at ChainSafe, the first one and the main one, is that we rewrote and refactored the whole library from JavaScript to TypeScript, so it's easier to maintain right now. Now Web3.js is compatible with ECMAScripts and CommonJS modules. One of the most important is that we reduced the library size from 329 kilobytes to 156, but this is the size of the whole library. If you want to do specific things, you can import a specific module for Web3.js, so you don't need to import or install the whole library. We have new documentations as well with video tutorials and all different code samples in the documentation. And then for the usage that we have around 2 million of NPM downloads a month and 19 million of CDN requests a month as well. These are some of the basic things that you can do with Web3.js. I added a link to the presentation to every of these things that you can do. So you can fetch data from the blockchain, you can send transactions, you can deploy contracts, interact with wallets and accounts, you can connect MetaMask. So you can do all these things with Web3.js. I will publish the presentation in the Web3.js Twitter as well. Okay, and now let's talk about the main thing of the day, which are Web3 plugins. So Web3 plugins is the new feature that we just released in August 2023, and Web3 plugins allows any developer or project to create SDKs or interfaces for any type of Web3 project. For these plugins, you can use or you can leverage all the Web3.js functionalities. And some of the use cases that we found so far are that you can have custom RPC calls. So this is really useful for any layer 1s or layer 2s in the industry, not only like Ethereum. Then we also have create easy Web3 APIs for Web2. So if you are a Web2 developer, and if you have a product and you want to create APIs for developers to build in your product, this is a really good way because you just need to create something, like you just need to create the plugin using Web3.js plugins, and then the developers will be able to build with your product. We have also contract wrappers, complex function arguments, custom logic or functionality. You can also add any external libraries into the plugins, and then Oracle calls as well. The advantages of the Web3 plugins is the first, this will provide more accessibility to your product, to your Web3 product, because you are just giving more developer tools for the developers to be able to interact with your product. This will also drive more adoption. This is really scalable because Web3 plugins is an NPM package that can be installed by anyone around the world, so it's really scalable as well. And the short learning curve of a plugin is way easier than just learning all the deep mechanisms of a protocol from scratch. Okay, so this is how you can create a plugin. First thing, you just need to install the Web3 library. After that, you need to import the Web3 plugin base module from the Web3 library, and you need to create a JavaScript class. So I create this class, my plugin, extending from the Web3 plugin base. You need to add a name. This is a property plugin namespace. In this case, I just put my plugin. And then after that, you're ready to create the plugin. You can add any functionality. You can add whatever that you want. I will show you some examples so it will be easier to understand. And this is how you can use the plugin. So as a final user developer, what you need to do is just to install and import the plugin here. Then you can initialize the plugin by typing new my plugin. And then to use the plugin, you just need to type my plugin dot do something, like depending on which methods are you calling from the plugin. So this is really useful to provide some level of abstraction for the final builders so they can build using your product. Okay, the first example of the day, I have 3 examples: Chainlink, Superfluid, and Swisstronic. So the first one is Chainlink data feed. For those who don't know what Chainlink data feed is, Chainlink data feed is basically like a bunch of smart contracts on chain, and then you can call them to retrieve the price of any pair. So for example, if I want the price of Bitcoin in USD, I call a smart contract, and then that smart contract will retrieve the price of Bitcoin, right? So this is Chainlink data feed. The standard way to interact with Chainlink data feed is first you need to look for the ABI of the contract, so you can Google this, or you can go to Chainlink docs. Then you need to look for the address of the contract that you want to call, because if it's in a different network, then the address is different. Then you can initialize the contract, and you can make the call to the contract, and then you can show the result. But using the Chainlink Web3 plugin, you just need to initialize the plugin. You can directly call the plugin because all these 3 steps are already stored within the plugin. So we are providing this abstraction to the developers, and then the plugin will manage everything. So if we translate this into code, this is kind of like the standard way. We have these 5 steps: import the ABI, the contract address, initialize the contract, call the contract, and show the result. And using the Chainlink Web3 plugin, so we just need to initialize the plugin. We call the plugin here, Chainlink plugin.getPrice. We just send as a parameter which pair we want to call. So in this case, BTC USD, and then we can just show the result at the end. The second example is Superfluid. So Superfluid is an asset streaming protocol that enables real-time crypto transfers. And if you are a developer and you want to build using Superfluid, what you need to do is that you need to talk to the host contract. You need to talk to the forwarders, sorry. You need to talk to these forwarders, which are on chain. And after that, the forwarders will redirect the call to the host contract. Because for a developer to be able to talk directly to the host contract requires more knowledge and deeper functionality of the Superfluid protocol. So this is how it works currently. But then using the Superfluid Web3 plugin, what you need to do now is you can install the Web3 plugin, and all the forwarders functionality is stored within the plugin, which is way better. And then after that, the plugin will be able to communicate to the host contract directly. So this is really good because it's improving the developer experience, because the developers can directly talk to the host through the plugin. This will also have less transactions, like less blockchain interactions, which is great because for the final user, it will also reduce the gas fees. Okay, and the last example, Swisstronic, which is a EVM layer 1 built on Cosmos SDK. They have some kind of privacy similar to secret network. So the standard way that you can make a call in Swisstronic is that you need to encode the function ABI that you want to call in the smart contract. Then you need to encrypt the data field of the transaction. You need to make the call to the network. You need to decrypt the response, decode the response, and at the end you can show the result. And then using the Swisstronic Web3 plugin, what you need to do is you just encode the function. You can make the call using the Web3 plugin, and then you can show the result because all these 5 steps that are here, 4 steps, are stored within the plugin, which is great. If we translate this into code, so first we need to encode the function, which is this. We are calling the balance of function, and then with the address, and then .encode ABI. That's how we can encode a function. We encrypt the data field using the Swisstronic library. They have a special library for it. We can make the call using web3.eth.call, sending the destination, which is the smart contract, and the encrypted data. After that, we can decrypt the response that we receive from the node, and then we can get the decode response. We can decode the response, and we can show the result. I didn't even have a space to put the decoded response here. But then using the plugin, this will look something like this. We just need to encode the function. We can call the plugin using web3.swisstronic.call. We just send the smart contract and the encoded function, and then all the different steps that I just mentioned will happen under the hood in the Swisstronic plugin, and then we can show the result. Okay, perfect. And then the next steps for developers or projects. Here I have some videos in case that you want to start like building plugins. So in this 15-minute video, you will be able to get started building a plugin. If you want to learn about Web3.js and how to make dApps with Web3.js, how to connect to MetaMask and so on, you can explore these 2 videos, these 2 playlists, Web3.js series and Web3.js course. And at the end, we have the Web3.js documentation as well. Currently, we have one hackathon. The deadline is on April 6th, so like 1 week left, with Learn Web3 and Push Protocol. We are giving $3,000 for ideas. So this is called like an ideathon. Ideas for plugins, and then we have 7,000 for build-a-thon. So this is basically just building plugins. So here you can find us at ChainSafe.th on Twitter, and then web3_js. I'm going to publish the presentation there as well. You can text me on LinkedIn, Telegram, or everywhere in Discord, Santiago DevRel. And if you want to learn more about the plugins that we already have, like the Chainlink, CK-Sync, ChainStack, Near protocol, you can go to web3js.org/plugins. Okay, and to close this talk, I would like to tell you with this kind of analogy that came to my mind when I was making the presentation, because as a builder, sometimes we don't really need to understand all the deeper mechanisms of the products, right, to be able to get started. So that's why we don't need to know how things work, we just need to know how to use them. Here is the QR code for the hackathon if you want to participate. And yeah, that's everything. Thank you.